Fitz-Gerald Group Principal, Keith Fitz-Gerald. Keith, great to see you. Interesting to see
Thank you for having me.
taking on Nvidia with the chip business.
It is. You know, what's interesting to me is I don't think it's occurred to a lot of people that this isn't an either or, Maria. This is very much like the early days of Coke and Pepsi. There is so much demand that both companies stand to gain massively. So I think this sell-off in Nvidia is tremendously perplexing, astonishing to me, in fact, because it's 90% market share, generational ahead of the Google chips, as I understand the technology.
Would you buy Nvidia right now?
Yes, no question about it. I bought some yesterday. I'm going to be buying more.
Adam, what are you doing? I know you own Nvidia. Adam Johnson, jump in.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I would argue that what we're seeing in Nvidia with the stock trading down versus Google is just algorithms trading headlines. Reality is what Keith just talked about. And Keith, let me ask you, are you buying, you mentioned Nvidia, you and I are partners in crime on that one. What about some of these other AI names that are down 30–40% over the past 4 weeks, whether it's Applied Digital, Celestica, CleanSpark, CoreWeave? I mean, take your pick. You buying those as well?
You know, those are all great names, but they're not as narrow as I'd like. I'm more inclined to go for the Palantirs of the world, for the AMDs of the world, because I still want to be more haystack than needle at this point, just because I'm playing that bigger demand curves. But I share your perspective on many of these names.
Meanwhile, interest rates also a factor here. Let's take a look. Keith, stocks rallied yesterday on new optimism over a rate cut for the Fed December policy meeting. I spoke with Governor Stephen Myron yesterday about the rate cut path right here on this program. Watch.
I think it's the right thing to cut interest rates rather quickly. Now, I think what you'll see on the rest of the committee is that the labor market data that we got recently, I hope, will move people in my direction of thinking it's appropriate to continue cutting interest rates.
White House National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett also talked about the potential for lower interest rates in 2026. Your reaction, Keith?
I think it's absolutely appropriate. I think it's long overdue. And I think, furthermore, the reaction, Maria, is as great as it's been for the last several sessions, is actually muted compared to what we will get when the trend really resumes.
Yeah, and I spoke with Kevin Hassett yesterday. He's the new front runner for the chairman of the Federal Reserve job. I spoke with him about that Sunday. Watch this. We know that you are on the short list to become potentially the next chairman of the Federal Reserve. When do you expect the president to tell us who he's chosen for the next chairman of the Fed job?
I think that the president is expecting to interview final candidates sometime over the next couple of months, and then we'll probably have a decision sometime soon around the new year. It could be tomorrow.
Would you expect that 2026 is a year of lowered interest rates?
Yes, I think that the big difference between the high growth from President Trump and the high growth we get sometimes from Democrats is that our growth comes from supply side policies that, you know, build factories. And when there's a big increase in supply, that drives down prices. And so we had really runaway growth before COVID and the Trump administration, more than $6,000 for the typical family in extra income, and inflation in the 1% range. And that's what we expect we're going to see again because of all the positive supply side policies for the big, beautiful bill and the tariff revenue reducing the deficit and so on.
Keith, your reaction?
You know what I like most about Mr. Hassett is that he thinks proactively, he thinks ahead, and he understands how real money works. So if he is selected, I think the markets are going to like it. I personally am going to like it. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, and he said right there that we're going to see lower interest rates in 26. Meanwhile, we've got more economic data on deck today. We'll get the weekly jobless claims and the delayed September durable goods numbers out at 8:30 a.m. How do you assess the macro story? Any expectations for this data?
I think the big themes are going to continue, but what's interesting to me, Maria, is that nobody seems to have recognized that everybody continued. The government stopped, but you know what? The markets went on. The world continued to turn. So the question to me is not the numbers today, but the revisions a few weeks from now.
All right. We'll be watching all of that. Keith, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Have a happy Thanksgiving. Keith Fitz-Gerald. Quick break, and then the Department of Justice backing Texas in its efforts to redraw the congressional map. As the fight to